chair. This isn't a fake conference, okay? There's really people here. That's just behind me, that's all. Okay, so as Michael said, I'm Michelle McDonald. I am founder and volunteer president of Family Innocence, something I founded in 2011, where our motto is keeping families out of court, resolving conflicts and injustices peacefully. I'm going to talk about a couple of things. First of all, my credibility, okay? Like Michael says, I had no client complaints against me. I had no malpractice cases against me. I was practicing law. I had my own law firm. I had helped thousands of people with legal challenges before hundreds of judges at every level. So we are talking about at the municipal level, which is district court, which is where this case happened, all the way up to the United States Supreme Court of America, which is in our backyard right now. And I had an epiphany, as Michael Bolton said, to end court for families. We had to stop the litigation, and I can explain to you how unnecessary judges are in the family court realm. I can explain to you how that came about, but we'll have to talk after the break because I only have a few minutes. September 11th is a very important date for me because my husband and I, Tom's second child, was born on September 11th, 1992. So after September 11th, 2001, it became kind of a not-so-nice day for us and for the world, really. That marks a very tragic day where how I see it, doing my restorative work, is that two planes flew into buildings to be heard. They weren't heard. They thought that would make the world hear what they wanted to say. Fast forward to Finding Family Innocence. We'd have these monthly meetings, and everybody would come and want to talk to me about their family court problems. And one woman came, it was January 1st, 2013, and what I saw happen to her, like Michael Volpe says, was the worst I had ever seen in the history of me litigating families. And it was done by a judge in 2 hours. It was a civil rights violation of all civil rights violations. And until her case, I had never seen what family courts do to people as civil rights violations. Now I see it very clearly. Okay, so we talk about fake news. I'm going to tell you about fake justice, and then I'm going to move on to fake court, which my book and Michael Volpe's book, Sandra Berzini-Rocky and the World's Last Custody Trial, depicts. That's fake court. So Sandra was the mother of 5 children. She was already divorced. And on September before she met me, September 12th, in one day, a judge did an order on September 12th that by noon on September 12th, you are going to leave your home, you are going to have no contact with your children, your 5 children are going to stay there, we're going to move a guardian in to take care of them, and you will be jailed if you have any contact with your children. And there wasn't a father in the home. The father had the same no contact order. against him. And she did what she had done many, many times under different circumstances. She was a flight attendant, so she packed up her bag. Her attorney at the time, who she had spent thousands of dollars in attorneys at this point, she packed up her airline bag. They said she could own it. She couldn't take any of her property, no computers, no nothing. She could take something that she didn't own, which is her airline bag. And she moved out. And she kind of snuck back and saw that the police were there ready to arrest her if she had gone back to her home. And there was no reason for it. There was no abuse. She had been a great mother all of these years. And so when she came to Family Innocence in Little Dakota County, we're talking about municipal corruption here, I was just like, I really didn't believe her. And she said to me, and I have it listed here, she said, my husband and the court system, they want 6 things. They want me homeless, which I am right now. They want me penniless, which I am right now. They want me kidless, which I am right now. They want me jobless, jailed, and dead. So she wasn't jobless at the time, and that's pretty much all she had. She had been an airline stewardess for almost 30 years at this point, and I had been an attorney for about 27 years. So I knew a civil rights violation when I saw one, and I took on her case. And I'm really well established in the judicial branch and the legal branch. I'm a member of the Minnesota State Bar for years and years. I could go on and on about all my credentials, and I had heard from judges about me. Michelle, we need attorneys to bring more of these civil rights violations, these constitutional challenges in court. So, of course, the judge that did this, his name was Judge David Knutson. I took on her case pro bono. I said, I'm just going to do the constitutional challenge. There's all kinds of court going on in your case. I don't have capacity to do any of that. But I will do the constitutional challenge. So we became co-counsel in a way in the case. So in February of 2013, I filed the constitutional challenge. And I basically said, and it made the media, it made Fox 9, I said that I said, free this family of all court. Just dismiss it. And I don't think our court culture understands that that can be done. It's been done in cases before, that the jurisdiction of the court can just go, poof. Okay? We don't know what family innocence is anymore. And the judge certainly didn't know what family innocence was. And he said, what do you mean? We have a court trial coming up. We have to litigate to see who's going to get custody of these kids. So what happened is, I forgot to tell you, all 5 of the kids ran away that day when they came home. It was the first week of school and their mother was gone. All 5 of them ran away to the police station. They ended up somewhere else. They ended up at an aunt's house, Sandra Verzini-Rucky's sister. So that's where they were by the time I got it. And she couldn't have contact with third parties or their churches or their schools or she'd be arrested. So this was days into it that she couldn't see her children. So oddly enough, my constitutional challenge was, I think it was April 29th, April 27th, around there, was denied. And at this point, I took that all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, by the way, by writ of mandamus. But at this point, I'm still facing this custody trial, and she's facing this custody trial. So at one hearing, the judge kind of roped me into the custody trial, but not, I don't say I was roped in. I was just like, why are we even having a custody trial? On the day that constitutional challenge was denied, 2 of the older children ran away, and they were not seen for 2 years. So I'm still practicing law. I have lots of other cases besides this one, and still do. I'm really paying attention to my constitutional challenge, but she's kind of all alone going to do this custody trial. with children that are missing. And of course I couldn't reject that. But this is the second September 11th. I guess it's the third September 11th. September 11th, 2013 was the date of her custody trial, her child custody trial. And I said, we got to do something. We can't just have it. We've had fake justice. We can't have fake court. So I well-researched, and I was so happy and proud, and I knew that I was going to win. I didn't think I was going to be a whistleblower against the court system. I knew I was doing the right thing, and I did a federal class action family liberties lawsuit. Sandra and her 5 children were the representative class, because at this point I said, families are just being devastated all over the place. This is the worst I've seen, but we need to do a class action. I can't just work on one case anymore. I can't work case by case. So I got that ready, and not on purpose, but we were working at my office. Sandra was with me. I had a bit of a volunteer team. We had a civil rights advocate. I had people helping me type it up, my paralegal, and it got filed on September 11th, 2013. So the media was there. I was at the courthouse. It was the first day of her trial. The kids had run away, so that's why the media was so interested in it, I think. I wasn't paying attention to the media. Whistleblowers don't pay attention to the media. I think they should get more detail. I wasn't paying attention because I didn't think I was a whistleblower at this point. I just thought I was a good attorney doing the right thing for the country. And I said to the media that day, and they put it on the news, on the television, I said, September 11th is going to be known as a different day from now on. It's going to be known as the day that families got their liberty back. Can we have an hand for that? This was my thinking. And I went into that judge, and there was a courtroom full of people. The media was there, and I said to him, please recuse yourself. I've just filed a $385 million lawsuit against you in federal court for civil rights violations. And he said, I'm not going to recuse myself, Michelle. I can be impartial. Okay. And I had a measure of damages because she hadn't seen at this point her 5 kids for a couple of years at all, no contact. I think she had a couple of supervised visits that she had to pay for and couldn't. So I ended up proceeding with the trial, and September 11th, I had her up on the stand, and I had come to find out or to learn that there's only 2 important witnesses in a child custody case, and it's the mother and the father. Can we have a hand for that? Yes. So, guardians, custody evaluators, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, cousins. It used to be, because I've been doing this a long time, that those would be the only witnesses, but we've created a lot of cottage industries. And so I put Sandra Grazzini-Rucchi on the stand, and here's what she testified to. She testified that they had lived in the home now for 14 years. So isn't that a perfect custody case, the stability of the home? That she had brought all of her children to this, they all had their sacraments, their Catholic sacraments. She brought all of her children to annual doctor's visits, all 5 of them every year. We went through the religion, we went through the activities. Oh my goodness, her girls were in beauty pageants, the kids were in all kinds of activities. And she testified right up until the day that the kids were taken from her, or she was removed from her home, which is a new twist on custody, I think, but it's happened before. This I thought it was the first case, but I've seen it since, where they remove a parent from the home instead of the children. So, and we left the courthouse thinking, the judge said, come back tomorrow, we'll hear the rest of the case, because it was the other side's turn, and we left the courthouse thinking, we won this thing, we got this thing beat. This is the best custody case that I've ever had in my career. She also had the same job. It was awesome. She was mostly a stay-at-home mom. I'm not having a lot of time. Wrap it up. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll wrap it up. Okay, so, but we looked on the court Mensis, and the next day was canceled. So we thought, it's canceled. The judge told us to come back. Maybe he came to his senses. He just got sued for a lot of sued as judge, sitting judge. And we went there the next day, and I took a picture of the court calendar because it showed it on, and Sandra said take a picture of the clock. So I took pictures in the courthouse, which I had done many, many times. And my last picture was a picture of a deputy smiling and waving at me. Where's Matthew? That's not a crime, right? And I went into court, and I started to cross-examine their witnesses. They put their witnesses on. I started to cross-examine their witnesses, and the judge said, let's take a morning break. And the judge got off the bench, and the sheriffs came and arrested me. They took me out of the courtroom. They took me into now I'm going to talk about fake court. They put me in handcuffs. Okay, they put me in handcuffs, and I handled the trial in handcuffs for my client with no glasses, no shoes, in a wheelchair, with no client because she had left and no boxes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.